The long straightaways and wide variety of corners here at Virginia International Raceway are the perfect setting for a thrilling touring car race, as was displayed yesterday in the first leg of this weekend's TC America powered by Skip Barber doubleheader. Matty House took a breakthrough TCX victory for Fast Track Racing, while Clay Williams and Devin Anderson took Barber control of the TC and TCA championships with victories on Saturday. And the best news of all, we get to do it all over again. Race 2 coming your way in mere minutes here at VIR. It's my pleasure to have you alongside with us. My name is Ryan Marine. Calvin Fish joins me in the commentary booth, and down in the pit lane is where we'll find Amanda Busick. Beautiful weather, temperatures starting to creep up into the lower 70s here this morning in Southern Virginia, Calvin. And if yesterday is any indication, you won't want to go anywhere. These are going to be 40 fantastic minutes of racing.
Yeah, 3 very competitive classes here. We had some fireworks here yesterday with a little bit of argy-bargy, which changed the result at the end of the day. But what a performance from Matty House, claiming that first win. She is really a revelation this season in the TCX class. One
of several stories that we'll be chronicling over the next 40 minutes or so. Down to help us with these stories in the pits is Amanda Busick.
Yeah, and you'll see Matty House just on the second row right behind me in that orange BMW. But you talk about the argy-bargy, it is right here on front row. These guys were racing hard on the last lap here at Virginia International Raceway. Talking to both of them this morning, Lucas Catania and Colin Garrett. They did fist pump before this race, so all good there from the actions of yesterday. Lucas said he is racing with a little anger, so sometimes that can go a long way here. But Ryan, we were talking this morning about LA Honda World and the effort to get Spencer Bucknam back on this track here today. It's wilder than we were even talking about this morning. Ryan Eversley did go to Charlotte to pick up a part, but it's because that part was flown all the way over from LA. He met the guy from the overnight flight. The team did remark that Ryan made it back to the track quicker than they expected. No speeding tickets, but he is a former race car driver. It was a boost pipe that they needed all the way from LA, and they did do extensive research on the East Coast to see if they could find it. So what a team effort to get that LA Honda World car back on this grid today.
A really remarkable story for sure, Amanda. Thanks for the update, and that's one we'll be talking a little bit more about. But another great story from yesterday, Xiao Yixie on the podium, but he got an even bigger trophy here. Proposal to his longtime girlfriend, and she said yes.
Nice one. That's awesome.
Big smiles all around. Big day for the Tech Sport team. Devin Anderson won. Xiao Yi was second. 1-2 for the team based right here at VIR.
Big day for them. Big day for Fast Track. A 1-2 finish in TCX as well, with the results there at the end getting overturned a little bit with Catania's incident and avoidable contact call. But as Amanda alluded to, he's looking for some revenge here today. He'd love to get his second win on the season from the pole position.
Yeah, no question. It was a mixed bag of emotions. I think it's safe to say for the Catania clan yesterday on the eve of Father's Day. Lucas's father, Joseph, who also races in this championship, got his first career podium, but it came because his son got a penalty.
Yes, he got promoted that one position. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to know what they were talking about at dinner last night. But it's a new day, it's a fresh day. We've got some awesome races here. And getting back to that Eversley story about what he was doing for the LA Honda World team in terms of heading down to Charlotte, grabbing that crew member. He also did a 5-hour round trip to Richmond before he did that as well.
Just a remarkable story from the LA Honda World team. Let's look at the starting grid. Lucas Catania will start on pole. Colin Garrett, who he scrapped with all race long yesterday, the hometown kid, starts in the second spot. Matty House, huge win for her and that fast track team yesterday, starts third today. Joseph Catania, first career podium, as mentioned in race 1, will roll off fourth for race 2. Row 3, that's where you'll find Dr. William Talley. It's his debut weekend in the championship for the LA Honda World team. Mechanical issue yesterday set him back. Kenny Schmid from AOA hasn't qualified well this weekend, but he raced to the front yesterday. Expect more of the same in race 2. Adam Gleason scored his first career podium yesterday. Great result for the Indiana native, now domiciled in Texas. And Dai Yoshihara, the Japanese drifting champion for the VGRT team, starts in 8th. Then Krista Freitas at the back of the TCX field, part of the HPD Academy, driving for Ian Lacey Racing. In the TC class, Jeff Rica driving with a heavy heart here on Father's Day. Lost his father on Thursday night. Jeff had a mechanical issue yesterday after leading a lot of the race, which handed the win to Clay Williams, who starts third. Clay's teammate from the mini team, Christian Pericarpi, rolls off second. Sally McNulty, a first career podium yesterday, starts fourth for race number 2. In the 8th row, Celso Neto from the Skip Barber School team is going to start there in that position to the inside of that row. Jeremiah Burton will start next to him. Then we get to the TCA grid, where Canadian veteran PJ Gronke didn't get a great result yesterday, but did have fast lap. That's why he starts from the Rova pole position. Will Lambros, who's been on a great run of form recently, starts next to him in second. Xiaoyi Che, second yesterday, got that proposal in as well. He'll start third for race 2 alongside Ruben Iglesias. Devin Anderson, a penalty for missing the front row drivers meeting, dropped him 3 spots on the grid. He'll start 5th next to Spencer Bucknam, who crashed yesterday. That car, though, repaired after a Herculean effort, and who starts in 6th. Cooper Broll and Eric Rockwell at the back of the field in a Honda and a Hyundai, respectively. That's the grid getting ready to go. Storylines, as you can tell, sprinkled all throughout this field. And the racing yesterday, Calvin, all 3 classes, was just tremendous.
It was awesome. This racetrack is hardcore. It's 3.27 miles, very demanding, very challenging, very unforgiving, but everyone had a really solid race. The racing got a little bit too tough at times, as we saw with the penalty called on Lucas Catania. That was a tough one. I mean, it was just good, hard racing. You'd have to lean that it was maybe Lucas's fault a little bit, but nonetheless, he wants to come back and showcase that he can still win here under normal circumstances today.
In TCA, we mentioned Will Lambros had a great run of form. Let's learn more about Will and the Skip Barber Racing School team.
Hello, my name is Will Lambros, and I drive the number 77 Honda Civic SI for Skip Barber Racing in the TCA division. I knew I wanted to be a driver as soon as I started. I started karting when I was 6, and I've been racing consistently ever since. I'm 20 now. My first Skip Barber class was when I was 14, and I did a Formula 4 race for them when I was 16, and then started doing this series in 2019. So, a while now. It wasn't terribly hard for me. I had a lot of help from Skip, and it definitely made a big difference. I was driving a lot of different things too, which, you know, with all the different instructors here, it helped a lot. Karting, I feel you're kind of like driving off the rear of a go-kart, and they were able to teach me how to drive a car off the rear, and a lot of good stuff I learned from that transition. Definitely do the 3-day and the 2-day school through Skip, and do a couple races in the race series. I mean, I learned a lot. I still learn a lot. If I'm working at the track and there's a school, I'll sit in on the school and just listen, because I'm always learning something new. We've been doing pretty well so far this year. Hopefully winning the championship. I mean, but that's definitely the main goal, obviously.
That Skip Barber School has started so many careers in motorsports, and actually 2 of the 3 members of this broadcast team are Skip Barber graduates, with Amanda and myself.
That's pretty cool.
It is. Here we go. Lights off on the safety car. We're about to start race 2 of the weekend here at beautiful Virginia International Raceway. 17 turns, just over 3¼ miles. Long straightaways, fast corners, hairpin turns, a little bit of everything around this fantastic racing circuit, and so much unpredictability at stake, especially in these touring car classes. It'll be 3 starts for the 3 classes. Coming along the front straightaway now, the Rova Pole Award winner, Lucas Catania. He'll have Colin Garrett next to him. It's Catania in the white car, Garrett in the primarily black machine. Into the VP acceleration zone, just waiting on Catania to go, and then we get the green flag. It waves for the second race of the weekend. Maddie House gets a nice jump from the inside of the second row, and she's putting some pressure on Garrett here for the second spot.
Garrett here is going to try and swing wide, see if he can get the grip on the outside as we see this TC field coming to green.
Jeff Rica in the Hyundai on the pole position, able to grab that lead, but Christian Pericarpi looking to counterattack. looking to go on the outside. In the meantime, his teammate Clay Williams slots into third. It's the TCA spec Mini of PJ Gronke that holds the advantage in the TCA class. The fight, though, on for the second spot with Lambros dicing with Xiao Yiche.
Bucknam there trying to force his way through, getting pretty aggressive. I saw some body parts flying, so that race car's had a heavy repair overnight, and he's already using it up a little bit, trying to make some ground up early.
Side by side in the fight for the second spot. Looked like Lambros was able to hang on, but coming under pressure from the hometown team, Tech Sport, and the Chinese driver Xiao Yiche. At the front of the field, though, it's Lucas Catania right there as he was most of the race yesterday, fighting with Colin Garrett. It ended in tears, though, in race one, Cal.
Yeah, and as we remember yesterday, oh, quick spin here for the 21 machine. That's Adam Gleason. Coming off that podium run here yesterday. But certainly yesterday it looked like Garrett's car had a little bit more straightaway speed. So Lucas Catania from the pole has the front. But here comes Colin Garrett in the draft here. Saw it happen yesterday. Looks to make that move. I think Catania's car over the lap may be just a little bit quicker. Certainly the pole position alludes to that in terms of it being marginally quicker than Garrett yesterday on his fast lap. But he needs to get into a rhythm and get away from Garrett if he can, but it's going to be tough.
Matty House not letting the top two escape either, and nor is Dai Yoshihara. That Honda Civic, which has been the dominant platform for the bulk of the season. Actually, that's Tally, excuse me, who's the front running of the Civics for the LA Honda World team. Doing a pretty good job to keep the BMWs honest, but here we go. Fight for the lead. Catania and Garrett duking it out into turn one.
Yeah, he's just vulnerable down these straightaways, isn't he? Catania, I mean, Garrett just seems to have a little bit more speed, and as they go side by side through turn one, it's allowed Matty House to close in on the battle for the lead.
Top three running nose to tail through NASCAR bend. Now left hook, which is turn four. Now back to the right they go. This is the portion of the racetrack known as Snake, which leads to the famed climbing S's.
That's where they got bit yesterday with Catania climbing all over that curb and getting into the side of Colin Garrett.
And that opened the door for Matty to come through. It was Lucas who was the first to take the checkered flag, but ultimately the penalty put him back a couple of positions, and Matty picked up her first win. Fight is a big one. This is second, third, and fourth in TCA. Anderson with his teammate Xiao Yiche to the inside, and Lambros in the mix. Here comes Bucknam too. Oh, and around goes Che.
Well, Bucknam, fortunately, and Anderson is through the dirt as well. So Lambros is trying to maintain that second position, but it's allowed Gronke just to escape this pack.
This is great for PJ, who had some misfortune yesterday, had to make a unscheduled pit stop, as all pit stops in this series are. Cost him a couple of laps and a podium result, but right now he's got the pace to lead the way in TCA. TCX still, oh, it's actually Garrett now ahead of Catania, but it's still nose to tail, Cal.
It is. We saw it yesterday. Garrett's car just has a little bit more straightaway. It's subtle, but it's enough to get the draft and move alongside Catania. So I'm not sure if Catania had a little moment, allowed Garrett to get through, but either way, it's what we saw here yesterday, and then it was just frustration for Catania trying to figure out a solution to that puzzle, get back to the front. Ultimately had a little bit of contact, got the penalty, but Matty House is looking strong once again. Let's take a look and see how it develops here. Side by side here, coming up to the climbing S's. He's just able to swing it around the outside and just get to the point.
Good respect shown by those two who collided less than 24 hours ago when fighting for the lead. Of course, though, that was on the final lap. We're still 35 minutes to go in race two, so plenty of time to be patient.
If anything, Matty House looks like she's got the pace of all three of them right now. William Talley's doing a brilliant job here. Has some experience with this type of car, but making his debut here in SRO, great to see.
Talley was the quickest car on the racetrack the last time by, only by a couple tenths, but that's let him close that gap, start to reel in the top three. Talley had some, it looked like maybe suspension damage or something to that effect, something mechanical, something was askew, and I believe it was the right front of that car yesterday. Cost him a chance to really fight. But to your point, Calvin, he has a lot of laps in a car very similar to this one. The TCX spec Honda is basically a detuned version of the Honda Civic TCR car. And that's what William Talley drives in his full season gig.
Kyle Lowe, unfortunately, has had his sponsorship dry up, so shame that we're missing him on the grid, but has created a seat and an opportunity for William Talley to be here this weekend. Catania picks up the draft. He's on the wrong side of the road there. As you get into that brake zone, it kind of curves there as you're trying to tuck it back in for the roller coaster. Very evenly matched, the top three.
Top three continue to fight. Let's look at this replay, though. Looks like Bucknam has been able to make his way up a couple spots. Anderson fighting back, though, to the inside. These are the top two in the championship, going door to door in the TCA class.
Here comes Maddie House to run down the front straightaway. What can she do with it? We saw her put together that brilliant move at Coda to grab the lead there at the last rounds of the championship. Swings it out wide, going to try and get the power down. She may be able to make this move. Catania's in trouble here.
And he's kind of stuck there behind Garrett, who's backing him up a little bit. That's allowed Oust to stay alongside. The outside becomes the inside through this section of the racetrack and put yesterday's race winner, Matty Oust, up to the second spot.
That was really nice piece of driving there. Timed it perfectly, still had the grip in the tires to make the move around the outside. A little slip there by Catania as they come through turn 5, lost a little bit of ground.
Big cheers for the former competitive cheerleader, Matty Oust, from the Fast Track Racing team. Battle 2, again, continues to bring Talley a little bit closer. He just ran a 2:01.5. That is easily the fastest of this top quartet.
Yeah, he's got the pace. He's half a second quicker than the leaders right now, so let's see what he can do. See the advantage that Honda may have over the BMWs around here. Williams doing a great job behind the wheel.
Straight fastest lap of the race to the Honda driver, Dr. William Talley, orthopedic surgeon. That's the day job in the Atlanta area. Passionate about his racing, always wanted to go racing, finally had the means, never lacked the motive.
Look, Matty Oust out of the draft. Does she clear Colin Garrett? Yes, she does. She is into the lead.
From third on the grid to the lead in under 8 minutes. Matty Oust, a winner yesterday for the first time in Tin Tops in just her 5th ever start. And now she finds herself leading last year's vice champion, Colin Garrett.
Just incredible, and her cars looked quick when she was running behind both Catania and Garrett. It looked like she had a little edge in lap time potentially. Let's see if she can now hammer some laps out and gap these two.
Catania back on the attack. This time his prey is Garrett. He's trying to use the same move that Matty Oust just used on him a lap ago.
This is good news for Matty. If these two start going at it, it may allow her to get into a rhythm and gap them a little bit, get them out of the draft. Seems like the top three are able to draft on one another and maybe have the edge by the time they get to the brake zone. So if she can get 3-4 car lengths here through this next half lap, may protect that lead as she gets back to the roller coaster brake zone.
Just 9 minutes into this race. Matty Oust showing the way, and Amanda has more on yesterday's winner.
Yeah, when I talked to her headed into the weekend, she was not shy in saying that she wants to be a professional driver. And she said she only started this thing at 16 years old, and what she might lack in experience, she more than makes up in passion. She said that the focus here and for every race going forward is just to perfect those driving techniques, but said, I'm always the one that has the pen and pad when I'm meeting with my teammates.
It's a really cool story, introduced to the sport by her father. Took to it like a duck to water, as we see. Matty Oust showing the way. Really came onto the scene in a big way, though, at Circuit of the Americas. Had some track time there previously, so the question was, can that carry forward? It's been answered with an emphatic yes here at VIR.
A little bit of a gap now between Devin Anderson, our new championship leader overnight, and Spencer Bucknam. Those two are duking it out. We've got Gronke still up front with a healthy lead.
And another car from the mini stable, but from a different class, Christian Pericarpi. Something has gone amiss for Christian because he lined up second on the grid and finds himself at the back of the TC class and in between first and second in TCA. Meanwhile, his teammate, Clay Williams, runs second to Jeff Rika. Clay has won 3 consecutive races now, and that's put him in the championship lead. We've got a flapping mirror there. It's Lambros, I believe, giving chase to Spencer Bucknam.
Like Spencer's right side may have taken a little clip there as well. We saw some argy-bargy there on the opening lap as he is trying to make up some ground quickly.
Rika is falling down the order on timing and scoring. They had a mechanical issue yesterday that brought him to pit lane, and here he comes again.
I mean, what a disappointment. I think everyone wanted Jeff to have a strong weekend here after the sad family news this week. And he's dominated both races, but both times he's been in pit lane now.
Lost his father, Robert, on Thursday night unexpectedly. Our thoughts are with the Rika family. Jeff's been persevering in his honor here on this very difficult weekend and this very emotional Father's Day for everyone involved with the Rika family and the Gin Racer team. Amanda is in the pit box. What do you know about what's happened to Jeff, Amanda?
Well, as you guys can see, the team is pretty frantic here. Jeff had his arms in the air when he made it to this pit box. Of course, an emotional weekend for them. The hood is up. Yesterday, it was an issue. The intercooler pipe was coming down and the boost was lacking air, so Jeff had to make it to pit lane a couple times. Ever, the competitor, he wanted to make sure that he hit 15 laps to pick up points, but as you said, Ryan, with the emotion going to the weekend, terrible to see here.
It is. That Gin Racer crew, they've been stalwarts of the championship for a long time. Jeff has been at the tip of the spear for Hyundai and touring car racing for many, many years now. And Hyundai has taken notice. He went over to Korea to compete in a single bank championship at the tail end of the year last year, made a lot of great connections, led to him getting a chance to race at the 24 Hours of the Nürburgring last month in a Hyundai-supported entry. A lot more support could be coming his way. That car, brand new this year, has been the dominant force in the season. He went undefeated until Circuit of the Americas, where he couldn't defend that undefeated streak because he was racing at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, certain irony, really, that the appreciation for his talents and what he's bringing to the brand gives him that opportunity. It swept the season so far, 4 wins on the bounce. Knew he was going to miss Coda. You know, Williams goes out and sweeps the weekend. He returns here with a fast race car, thinking, okay, I can pick those points back up again. But 2 technical issues have kind of stymied his assault back on the championship.
And Williams leads again in the TC class. This would be a 4th straight win for Clay after 4 straight wins to start the season for Jeff.
This battle up front is intense. Maddie's car is working well. She's doing a tremendous job. She's going to be gaining confidence. The more laps she can just lead this duo behind her. Catania and Garrett have been trading blows. Catania has the point now. He's going to try and work on that draft. Seems like Maddie's top line speed and Colin Garrett's are similar. It just seems like maybe Catania's is just a little bit off. Should be identical machines, as you can see. Even in the draft, he can't quite get the run on Maddie to make anything happen by the time they hit the brake pedal to get into the roller coaster.
Couple of notes from Amanda in the pits. Number 1, we were wondering what might be going on for Christian Pericarpi. Evidently, it is a misfire of some sort on his TC Spec Mini, so that's cost him some pace and dropped him well down the order. And as far as William Talley yesterday and what might have gone wrong, evidently a broken damper was the issue that waylaid him. But this, Catania and Garrett both just set their respective fastest laps of the race. These top 4, including William Talley, who was dropped off by a couple of seconds, but they're on that last lap all running within a few tenths of one another. Yeah,
and Garrett's dropped off the pace here a little bit compared to the front 2, and as you said, Talley was right with this trio, and he's dropped back a couple of seconds, so he's not really in the mix for the victory right now, which at one point I thought he had the strongest car on the racetrack, certainly showing that in lap time.
Jeff Rika, by the way, has returned to the racetrack, so again, his mission today will be to make it to the 50% mark to at least score points. Finds himself in 6th, which is where he was yesterday too, within that TC class. If you don't make it to halfway, though, no points are scored at all. So this is now about damage limitation, and perhaps some attrition could provide Jeff a chance to make up a spot or two before this is all said and done in just under 25 minutes.
Maddie House just hitting her marks perfectly. Very, very consistent with her lap times. Her last lap was just 1/10 off her best lap of the race. Tanya and Garrett just set their fastest laps of the race. Williams here continues to lead in TC, as you said, looking for 4 on the bounce to extend that championship lead.
Came in at 13 points, added to that yesterday, and is in a position to make some major strides towards the season-long championship here today. Finished second last year in the TC class. 4 wins, 10 podiums, 5 poles and 8 fast laps for Clay Williams 1 year ago. Looking to add to that tally for this year. In addition to the 3 wins he's notched so far, he also has 3 other podiums. No finish worse than 4th this year. And Calvin, that's been crucial for him, because on a weekend where Jeff Rica has dominated, Williams has done his best to minimize the damage, stay in the mix, and then with Jeff missing Coda, having misfortune here, that's put Clay now in a position to really capitalize.
Yeah, he kept it tight, kept maximizing his results on the weekend when it seemed like the Hyundai had a little bit of an advantage, and obviously Jeff Rick, oh, that's a little bit wide there by Gronke. But he might have got a little bit of lock up there turning into turn 11, and now he's feeling the pressure big time from our championship leader, Devin Anderson, who is closing in. Spencer Bucknam is still in a fierce battle with the William Lambros, so Bucknam runs second, trying to chase after Anderson, who grabbed the championship lead overnight with that incident for Spencer early in the race yesterday. Up front in TCX, Catania trying to figure out a way. He's lost the attention of Garrett momentarily, at least.
It is the strangest thing about Lucas Catania, the amount of times we see him running second. And it's a revolving cast of characters that he's running second to. It was Jacob Rude a lot of the time the last couple of seasons. Colin Garrett burst onto the scene last year.
Watch the run here. I think Maddie came through the oak tree with a lot of understeer. I heard some tire squeal as she came through this. She might have overcharged the corner. It's going to give Catania a little better run.
Here he comes, Lucas Catania, looking to atone for the error yesterday, which cost him a chance to win that race. Finally broke through for his first career win at Circuit of the Americas after coming close countless times. And he's in contention here. He's anxious to get to the front. Lays the chrome horn to the back of Matty Oust.
Trying to rough her up now, to distract her, get her to make that critical error. I think Catania's just frustrated. He gets the draft, but it's not enough to make the move into the brake zone like the other two can do on him.
Well, Matty comes from single-seater racing. You don't get to lay the bumper to someone quite like that when you're racing in an open-wheel car. But she's adapted quickly to the touring car ranks. Guards the inside here. Catania looking outside, looking inside. Can't find a way through. Again with the bumper to the back of Matty Oust.
Yeah, he's managing his aggression at this point.
TCA traffic, that's Rockwell. They work their way past. That won't affect this fight at the front of the field.
Watch turn 4. The left hook coming up. Does he surprise her late in the going here and try and make a move down to the inside? We're not even halfway in this race yet.
Do want to note as well that Devin Anderson has cut the gap to PJ Gronke down to just a handful of tenths of a second. PJ's got a long winless drought dating back to his championship year in TCB back in 2017, so he'll desperately want to cling to the lead in the TCA class. But we have our eyes fixed here on this battle. First, second, and third overall and in TCX. Looks like a car dropped a wheel just in front of the overall leaders, but everything appears to be clear.
This is just great for her development, being in this fierce battle, feeling the heat from behind, little rubbing and racing. The lead has changed.
That it has. Points leader Devin Anderson is through on PJ Gronke. This is where the move was made, Cal, making the run down into Horseshoe.
Just down to the inside, pretty simple move there. So Gronke had a pretty healthy lead there, and he just backed up all of a sudden over the last 2 or 3 laps. Bucknam still sits in P3, but some 8 seconds back, so no threat to the leaders right now.
Interesting, though, Gronke was able to fight back, at least temporarily. Then Anderson with that lunge to the inside. The door was open. lets it slide wide, and he'll take over the top spot. Looking to go back-to-back here on home soil. That Tech Sport team based right here on the premises at VIR.
Great shot here coming through this very technical complex of turns. Anderson there, you can see the subtle changes to the road in terms of the elevation change, the camber, using up these curves. Got a two-phase to it. You got sort of gray lower teeth to the curbing, then that FAI curbing right behind it, which has a much more solid bite to it. If you run wide and come through corners like this, turn 3 and out of Oak Tree, you have that extra bit of pavement to work with. Maddie just continuing to just hit her marks, not be fazed by the attention from behind and the pressure.
Super impressive, this young in her racing career, to be able to go toe-to-toe with Catania and Garrett, who have been fighting for race wins for several years now.
Traffic management now going to be a key. Where does she hit the traffic? Does she get in that awkward scenario where she's got to overslow her car a little bit, just keep Catania at bay and get a run off a corner?
She does have the CrowdStrike fastest lap of the race, but it is tight. All 3 of these top cars, their best laps within about a 10th or less of each other. Good place to catch the traffic here down Madison Avenue. That's Ruben Iglesias in a TCA spec car that they work their way by. Almost able to pull a gap, it looks like, here in the second half of this 4,000-foot-long backstretch.
Yeah, car is strong. She's good. Managed that nicely. Picked up a little bit of a draw from that traffic. She seems like she's really controlling her speed through the corners at times. We saw her overcharge Oak Tree a little bit. That got her in trouble with the pressure from behind, but she recognized that mistake and then slowed down her entry speed a little bit next go-around.
That's the halfway mark here in this 40-minute race. At Virginia International Raceway, biggest lead we've seen all day here in TCX. Maddie Oust, half a second over Lucas Catania. For more on the Lucas Catania story, we go back down to Amanda.
Ryan, we also hit the halfway mark through the season yesterday. I was talking to Jim Jordan, the series director for TC America, just about what he's seen in this class so far this season. And he wanted to point out that he thought that Joseph Catania was the most improved driver in the TCX class. And when I talked to Lucas Catania about this, and man, what a special day to drive in a race on Father's Day with your father. He said he couldn't agree more that his father works absolutely tireless for this team. So I just love this story here on a Sunday at a racetrack on Father's Day.
Pretty special, that's for sure. Looks like Catania has now dropped back into the clutches, though, of Colin Garrett. We got a spin.
Anderson,
that's David Anderson from the lead in TCA. Gronke is through.
There's
Bucknam is through. Now here come the overall leaders. They're going to have to pick their way through this. He was able to reverse out. Can he get out of that? Yes, he can. So Anderson trying his best to limit the damage, but that's going to cost him multiple spots and crucially the race lead.
Just by himself there, just lost the rear end. Not sure if he just carried too much speed in, had the nose pinned as he was continuing to break into the approach there for Oak Tree.
Now that sets up now, with 16 minutes to go, a chance for this man, the affable Canadian PJ Gronke. Well, if he could keep it together, this would be a really, really big win for PJ and the LAP Motorsports team.
Yeah, he had a 9-second lead last time by the stripe over Spencer Bucknam. In terms of the gap there, he didn't have the lead at the time, but the gap back to Bucknam, so he now has the lead, and Bucknam is through for P2.
That's
there
right.
He is, fourth car in line. You see the TCX leaders. Maddie Oust just trying to hang on here. Catania all over the bumper there. And Garrett's looking aggressive as well here in the late stages.
Certainly is. Top 3 accordioning back and forth. Maddie Oust broke through for her first career win yesterday. Can she make it 2 in a row? She'll need to hold off a couple of seasoned vets for another 15 minutes to get the job done.
haven't seen Lucas Catania even think about poking his nose to the inside there in turn 4, and I wonder if he's keeping that one up his sleeve here for later in the going.
Keeping the powder dry. You might be right. Oh, but he might want to pull it out sooner rather than later because Garrett is there. He was sitting back, letting those Pirellis cool off a little bit so he can mount a counterattack of his own, and it looks like Garrett has found the pace. He is the quickest of these 3 cars by a sizable margin. Was 0.4 of a second quicker than Aust. Now, some of that has to do with the toe, but clearly that car is coming back to life here as we approach the final quarter of the race.
Yeah, and he's going to get a run. Catania's off and on, and he's going to lose a little bit of traction there down Madison Avenue, and he's already by him early in the straightaway. So that was a crucial little mistake there by Lucas, just running out wide, just didn't get the power down in the grip to launch him off that corner.
Is this enough to give Maddie a gap where she can break the toe? Can she pull away from the other 2 in the class? Through roller coaster, turns 14 through 16. Huge elevation change, multiple stories. Downhill, twisting left, twisting right. Easy to see why it's known as roller coaster. One of the more challenging portions of this racetrack.
It really is, but she's hitting her mark. She's done an excellent job. Just looks really tidy. Not impressed by the attention from behind. But maybe Garrett will go on the attack in a slightly different way, so she's got to be on her toes here. She gets inside our TCA leader there, PJ Gronke.
That was great timing for Maddie. She was able to clear him before Horseshoe. Not so lucky, Colin Garrett and Lucas Catania. That will cost them a little bit of time relative to the leader. Gronke doing what he needs to do, keeping his nose clean, being predictable. It's up to the leaders to make their way by. He's got his own class win to think about right now, with a lead over Spencer Bucknam, just under 11 seconds.
Well, this would be quite the statement. Maddie has got that victory yesterday. It was kind of handed to her with the penalty that was put down on Lucas Catania for the bump and go on Colin Garrett, but she's done a tremendous job here today. But Garrett now is looking really feisty here, a little bit loose there coming through turn 10, trying to make a run here. Does he think about the inside in Oak Tree?
Colin Garrett letting it hang out here. Had a great run yesterday until the last lap contact. Had a really good day in Pirelli GT4 America, where he teamed with Johann Schwartz in a GT4 BMW. And he's the hometown kid from 20 minutes down the road in South Boston, former short track ace at South Boston Speedway, which was running last night. I think many of his short track friends are going to be out here supporting him in his pair of races today.
Colin thought, no, I'm not going to make a move down the inside, Oak Tree. I'm going to focus on the exit. And Maddie did a better job than he did. So she's a tough little competitor here. So interesting to see the dynamic of new faces coming to the front in our championships. And for these regulars, it's like, how is she going to handle this? Can we make a crack under pressure? So far, the answer is no.
An emphatic no from Maddie Aust. Crosses the stripe again, just ran a 2:01.6. Colin Garrett, 2:01.6. Catania, 2:01.7. To give you some idea of the parity between the top 3. Identical cars, but Calvin, 3 different teams. Fast Track Racing, Rooster Hall, and Rigid Speed.
Yeah, and they'll all run slightly different setups in terms of what they feel is the right way to manage this circuit. Ask for a lot. You need straightaway speed, as we've seen here today. Down Madison Avenue, down this front stretch, you need a little bit of compliancy over the curbing. You need good braking. Ask for everything. Good sharp change of direction through corners like 4 and 5 right here.
Taking a peek in at this fight for the 6th spot, Joseph Catania and Dai Yoshihara squabbling a little bit further back in the TCX field. Yoshihara had some incredible pace in some of the early rounds of the championship, but only 1 win to show for it. That's basically his only result of note, despite numerous poles. Former drifting competitor.
It's the understeer again. She's just got in a bit too much speed. They're going to get a run on her. She's got to control that entry speed at Oak Tree. You see how they've closed the gap immediately.
Here comes the TCX freight train down Madison Avenue. Matty Oust in the lead, becoming under pressure. Colin Garrett, runner-up in the championship a year ago, putting the pressure on, and Lucas Catania also waiting in the wings. Oust, though, with just enough of a run down the long back straightaway to keep Garrett at bay.
She is savvy. She's just so subtle where she places that car in the run of the brake zone, making it really not a pretty picture for Colin Garrett to go even further to the right-hand side in the dirt there as you get to the brake pedal. So she's heads up. She recognized that she'd lost a little bit of exit speed off of Oak Tree and really controlled that nicely into the brake zone.
Once more into Horseshoe, turns 1 and 2. Matty Oust, the lead, just 0.3 of a second. A further 0.4 back to Catania. Rooster Hall Racing, based not too far from here. Looking on, they're the team that fields Colin Garrett.
We've seen Maddie make that little mistake coming off Oak Tree a couple of times, but she keeps hanging on to the lead, so she's got to control that speed through there. She seems to be doing a really nice job elsewhere, but a couple of little bobbles there, but not enough to lose the point at the front of this field.
Like Colin might have used a bit too much curb in turn 5. That cost him momentum relative to Maddie, and it's brunt Lucas Catania right back up to his back bumper again.
See what she does this time. You want to keep the weight on the nose as you turn in. That was better. That was better.
Clip that exit, that curb on exit on the inside as well. Like that might have helped rotate the car around a little bit. Great run out of Oak Tree that time for Matty Oust, the race leader, with just 8 minutes to go. Clay Williams continues to lead in TC. Celso Neto runs in second. Sally McNulty looking for back-to-back podiums. She runs third right now, ahead of Jeremiah Burton and Christian Pericarpi. Then in TCA, PJ Gronke with a solid advantage. There's a look at Clay Williams, the leader in TC. It's his teammate from the TCA ranks, PJ Gronke, who has a lead of 12 seconds. The man on the move, though, has been Xiaoyi Che, who's recovering from an early spin. He's up to third and has been running down second place Spencer Bucknam in TCA. That gap is now down to just 2 seconds.
That could be huge for Devin Anderson if his teammate can chase down Bucknam and steal some of those points back, because Bucknam's going to cut into that championship lead, which I believe is 8 points after the win yesterday for Anderson and the DNF for Bucknam.
There's the gap from the leading Mini in TC up at the top of the screen to Celso Neto, who runs second in the class, making his way through some lap traffic. TCA leader, PJ Gronke.
This will be a popular win. He works so hard on his racing programs. He has a ton of support. Look at all the decals on the side of the car. He says a little can go a long way if I get enough people to partner up with me.
There's Bucknam in second. Bucknam still nearly 13 seconds behind PJ. Just ran a 2:18.7. Xiaoyi Che, though, this Tech Sports Subaru just ran a 2:10.1. So he just chopped off another 0.6 of a second on Bucknam. It is starting to hot up at the front here in TCA behind the leader, PJ Gronke.
Yeah, the Tech Sport team will be certainly cheering on Shea here to see if he can catch Bucknam. That is important for their other driver, Devin Anderson, of course. See Shea there trying to indicate to Jeff Ricker which way to go. I think that's losing him a little bit of ground to Bucknam by doing that and being kind.
Yesterday was Xiaoyi's third ever podium in North American touring car racing, looking to make it a fourth, in addition to having his marriage proposal accepted up on the podium less than 24 hours ago. This could be a very memorable weekend for the Chinese driver, Xiaoyi Che. No change at the front, though. Oust, Garrett, Catania, 1, 2, 3. BMW having the edge here this weekend, it would appear, in this TCX battle, but great to have Honda as part of the championship after several years of TCX being the sole domain of the BMW.
Yeah, it really is great to see different manufacturers in our top class here in TC America. Catania there is keeping it tight. He hasn't really made a bold move yet. And now he looks to the inside on Garrett. Garrett protects a little bit. That compromises his entry to turn 3. All the while, Maddie Howe is just trying to knock out these laps, trim the race time down to the point where she can just think about that last lap.
Inside the final 5 minutes, and talking about different manufacturers in TCX, a new Acura TCX car is coming next year, and if you want a sneak peek of it, watch the Pikes Peak Hill Climb next weekend, because Lonnie Unser, part of the famed Unser family, will be running effectively the car that will be a TCX class competitor next year up the mountain that for many years was known as Unser's Hill, because the Unsers had so much success at the hill climb. That's for next week or for next year as far as the TCX Acura is concerned. Let's focus in here in the final 4 minutes on this battle. Aust, Garrett, Catania. That's how they run. Maddie Aust won her first ever touring car race yesterday in just her 5th start. Looking to make it 2 for 2 this weekend at VIR if she can just hang on.
The draft effect is really cool. It's just subtle, but it keeps it interesting. Just who's going to be close enough to take advantage. It's going to take a little bobble from Maddie, I think, through Oak Tree to give Garrett the run, but I haven't seen any of these competitors really think about that dive to the inside for turn 4. It can go wrong, as we saw yesterday, trying to coexist through those pair of corners. That really tightens up through there, but with a win on the line, how badly do you want it?
Catania's got a bit of a run here. Garrett did not get a great drive out of Hogpen, and that's left him vulnerable. Catania coming on the attack, swings to the outside. He's made some hay there with that move a few times already in this race. Now cuts it back to the inside. Garrett's going to cover because now the track comes back to the left. Does it open the door, though, for Catania? Yes, it does. This is where it came to tears just 1 day ago, Calvin, between these two.
Yeah, it did. Catania was on the other side when they got to turn 4, that they're going through here, the left hook, but all of this is great news for Maddie Aust. Garrett's having to protect. He's having to compromise his line. He's losing lap time by doing so. That's allowed Maddie Aust to increase that lead just a little bit.
It was 6/10 at the line. I think it's more than that now, thanks to the squabble between Garrett and Catania. Fighting for second and third. That's allowed Aust to pull away, but she's just caught traffic. That's Rockwell. This is something she's still very new to, dealing with multi-class racing. It has cost her dearly. At the top of the climbing S's, she's been balked. Here comes Garrett. Slings it up the inside of Rockwell's TCA car. That keeps him in the fight. It has totally cost Catania, though, a chance to run with the top 2.
Maddie Aust once again making a nice decision there. Didn't overdrive the corner, didn't get out in the marbles, kept it nice and tidy. I think Garrett thought he had an opportunity there, but he was just that half car length back where you recognize as a driver, you just have a sense, a feel, whether you can force the issue, and he wasn't close enough and wisely chose not to push the attack any further, any deeper into that corner.
But that decisive move to get past the TCA traffic has kept him in touch. It's got him a chance. It'll be the white flag this time around for the race leader, Maddie Aust, and second place, Colin Garrett. He's right there.
Yeah, and this is not what she wanted to see, the fact that Garrett's got no one on his tail. He's got a big run here down the front straightaway. Maddie's just got to protect that inside line.
White flag waved from the starter's stand. One more tour of this 17-turn, 3.27-mile track to go. Maddie Aust looking for a clean sweep of the weekend. Into Horseshoe. Slips a little bit wide. Here comes Garrett now, fighting back. Able to claw into that deficit. He is close. Is he close enough to take a peek into 4? Is this the time to make that move?
She needs to nail this corner. She's not quick through there. Garrett is closer, but he's on the wrong side of the road to make the move. Didn't have enough time to cut it back.
It won't happen in turn 4. Now we enter Snake, then to the climbing S's. How many chances does Colin Garrett have left?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. I mean, Maddie keeps it tidy through Oak Tree. I think she's got this one, but Garrett's going to certainly make her think about it.
Little bit of traffic up the road. That's the stricken car, I believe, of Christian Pericarpi that's been dealing with the misfire. Not sure if they'll get to him or not before the checkered flag comes out. Final time up through the climbing S's, up to South Bend, and now the run down to Oak Tree. This is where she's been vulnerable in the past.
Just needs to keep it nice and tidy. Don't overdrive this corner right here. That looked pretty good. That looked pretty good, but Garrett's right there. He's going to be keeping her busy in the mirrors as they get to that break zone.
Oust tries to get a little bit of a toe off of Pericarpe's stricken Mini. Here come the BMWs down Madison Avenue. It looked like Garrett might have a run. Starting to close in. Here they come towards Roller Coaster for the last time. Oust, though, still has him covered.
Beautiful job. Can she sweep the weekend? 4 corners to go.
Maddie Oust in just her 6th ever start in a fendered race car. Has Colin Garrett, a multi-time winner behind her, and he slides. That lets her escape. Maddie Oust did not crack under pressure, comes through Hogpen for the final time, and it will be Maddie Oust and Fast Track Racing that sweep the weekend at Virginia International Raceway. Colin Garrett comes home second, 0.7 of a second behind. Lucas Catania completes the podium in 3rd. The celebration is underway.
That was spectacular. What a great drive by Maddie Oust. Pressured continuously, and she did not crack. What a job.
Yesterday, she ended up in the lead after a penalty for Lucas Catania, who was the first to see the checkered flag. There is no doubt about the performance today. Maddie Oust held off both Garrett and Catania for the duration of this race and picks up a 2nd career win. Now to the TCA leader, PJ Gronke from Canada, the 2017 TCB class champion. He has not won a race in TC America since 2017, but the streak ends here at VIR. PJ Gronke back in the winner's circle for the LAP Motorsports team.
That is awesome. That is a great story right there. Fantastic.
And can it be 2 wins for LAP? Yes, it can. TC belongs to Clay Williams. It's his 4th win in a row, and just behind him, the battle for the 2nd spot.
Yeah, Bucknam gets it, and it's Devin Anderson who gets the final podium position. I'm not sure if there's any team orders in play there. He gets around Shea on the final lap.
That'll be a happy bunch. LAP Motorsports based just outside of Indianapolis in Brownsburg. They've been running these minis in multiple different configurations, multiple championships for well over a decade now. And a phenomenal result for that team. Wins in both classes, TC and TCA. But Maddie Oust with the overall win from the Fast Track Racing team by 0.7 of a second, keeping the hometown kid Colin Garrett at bay for the better part of 40 minutes.
She is the real deal. That is fantastic. Just she got roughed up there a little bit in the middle of the race when Lucas was using her up a little bit through the roller coaster. Didn't phase her one bit.
Not at all. Provisional results from our 2nd race this weekend. TC America powered by the Skip Barber Racing School. Oust, Garrett, Catania, the top 3. Will Talley in his debut weekend. Strong run today to get to 4th. Had some good pace. Faded a little bit late. Kenny Schmid again showed good pace. Ends up 5th ahead of Joe Catania, Dai Yoshihara, Chris DeFreitas, and Adam Gleason, rounding out the top 9 overall. Then you get to 10th overall, the leader in the TC class, Clay Williams, 4 straight wins now. Celso Neto, he's been knocking on the door for a win. His pace is improving over the course of the season. And Sally McNulty, a 2nd straight podium.
So many cool stories coming out of this race weekend. Great job by Sally again, following up on the runner-up finish yesterday. And Neto, as you said, he's a regular podium finisher, it seems, every single week.
PJ Gronke might get the trophy that has the 1 on it, but I think Spencer Bucknam might feel like a winner too. 2nd place today after a Herculean effort by the LA Honda World team to have that car on the grid, ready to fight today. Comes home 2nd and salvages what could have been a disastrous weekend.
Great effort by the whole group there at LA Honda World. Mario Biondo was over at Le Mans. He's on vacation with his family. He was orchestrating all of those parts getting to the racetrack whilst he's away in Europe. So tremendous effort. They won that championship in the worst possible way.
Devin Anderson completing the TCA podium, adding a 3rd place to his win yesterday, but what might have been. He had the little off, cost him the lead, but he did rally to get back to the 4th spot. There is the lady of the hour. Young Maddie Oust climbs from her BMW. receives the adulation of the team. There's the class manager for TC America, Jim Jordan, there with the first place Pirelli hat. And old Mad Dog will celebrate another race win, Amanda.
Oh, and that first place Pirelli hat is going to go on the head of Matty Alston. Matty, I was talking to your team, and I heard that you told them that the next time you got a win, it would happen on track and not by default. How are you experiencing this victory differently?
No, I'm definitely absorbing this one up a bit more. Yesterday, I felt that it kind of got given to me, given that I didn't get to do it on track and pass him. And this weekend, I told this race, I was like, I'm going to win it on track. I'm going to pass both of you on track and win it out there and give it all I had.
I absolutely love that the Mad Dog is on the back of your helmet here. Calvin Fish in the booth called you the real deal. When you hear that, what goes through your mind?
It means a lot. Running, getting up in a race, getting better, hearing that there's people out there that see your talent, see your hard work, it means a lot.
Well done, Matty.
We're going to be hearing a lot more from her in the years to come. Here's the celebration. Fantastic performance from young Matty Aust.
It's Nick Johnson there. He's pumped to see this young girl do her thing. Pretty cool.
PJ Grunke, we told you it was going to be a big celebration. He's a big Star Wars aficionado, so he's got the Boba Fett helmet. Haven't seen that popping out of the car in a while. Super, super cool. Let's hear from the Canadian touring car ace, PJ Grunke.
Well, the best part about this interview, as I told before you even made it here, PJ, from Jim Jordan here and from the guys in the booth, that this celebration was going to be epic, and you've already started it. Victory is yours once again to see it, PJ. Just tell us about it.
I am on cloud nine. I've been waiting for this interview for a long time, just so you know. I can't thank all my partners and sponsors enough. I'm the reason, they're the reason I'm here, and I wouldn't be able to do this without them, and oh my God, I'm at a loss for words. Mini JCW team, Mini USA, I wouldn't be able to do this without them. Racing with Mini since 2010, coming back home, this is how we do things.
Congratulations on finding victory, PJ.
Thank you so much.
PJ Grunke and a loss for words. Never thought I'd hear those two together. But you can see the emotion. He puts his heart and soul into this, Calvin. Every waking moment that he's not spending at work, he is spending putting together partners to go racing. And there's Greg Gill, Series CEO, to help him celebrate.
Yeah, I think everyone in the paddock will celebrate with PJ. They know how hard he works, how tough it is to have a small operation like his and bring all of the people together, the partners. And as we said, it's a little bit here, a little bit there, and somehow he manages to get to the racetrack. He's had a lot of bad luck. We talk about that dry spell, the drought. He's been in position to have wins before, but everything seems to bite him, and finally the day comes good for him.
From one mini winner to another, it's 4 wins on the bounce, Amanda, for Clay Williams.
Oh, man, big celebrations down here for the team. Hugs all around. PJ still going out at Clayton. You sweep the weekend, 4 wins in a row now, but you know Jeff's going to be right there as we head to this back half of the season to extend this gap. Where will that leave you headed to Road America?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, luck fell our way this weekend. I got to thank the racing gods for that. You know, but this team did just an amazing job all weekend. Spraying. Yeah, I mean, I can't thank the team enough and Catalyzer for, you know, such an amazing weekend. PJ getting his first win of the season, it's awesome.
I think the only thing left, PJ, I think the only person you haven't hugged is the other person that won. So nice little hug between the champion winners down here.
There's Jack Baldwin in to congratulate PJ. There you go, the two teammates sharing a moment in victory lane. Clay Williams in TC, PJ Grunke in TCA, and Matty Aust to winner overall and in TCX. Let's look back on highlights from a dramatic race number 2. It was Lucas Catania that was on the row of pole position in TCX. Led the field to green. Big fight here in the opening lap, Calvin, between a couple of the Tech Sport teammates. Xiao Yiche goes for his spin. Plenty of action throughout the field.
Yeah, Anderson there taken to the escape right there through the grass, but what a battle we saw in TCX. Initially it was between Garrett and Catania. Aust just in the shadows, and then she came at the forefront with a big move later.
Yes, she did. Worked her way around Catania on the outside of the horseshoe, made her way down Madison Avenue to the inside of Colin Garrett. She would not be headed again. This was a great scrap for a little while between Devin Anderson and PJ Grunke. It was for the race lead, but then the off for Devin Anderson, let Gronke through.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Just loses the rear end on the entry to Oak Tree.
As the checkered flag flew, it was Matty Oust winning a second straight race in TCX. Clay Williams, a fourth straight race in TC. And PJ Gronke snapping a dry spell that dates back half a decade to win in the TCA class. The celebrations just now beginning here in Victory Circle at VIR. Plenty of champagne to be sprayed here, Calvin, and a weekend to remember for the touring cars.
That was wild. It was a great race. We saw a little bit of argy-bargy yesterday, and unfortunately a penalty was called, but the racing today was superb. Matty Oust, what a drive. Under pressure for the second half of that race. Never blipped, never missed a beat. And sweeping the weekend, that was quite the statement to make. Everyone's going to pay attention now, thinking about the championship standings. Forget wins. No, she's got her eye on the big trophy, you'd have to feel.
It's a bit of a break for TC America until the next round. We're looking at August at Elkhart Lake, Road America, a track that shares some of the same characteristics as VIR. Might we be in store for some more fireworks when we get up to Wisconsin?
Well, it's going to be fun to get back there with the resurfacing, and we hear it's got monster grip, so it should be quite the ride there in Wisconsin.
Looking forward to that as Mad Dog celebrates in Victory Lane. Congratulations to Matty Oust, Clay Williams, and PJ Gronke, winners in race 2 of the weekend at VIR. That's a wrap for our touring car coverage here this weekend. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we look forward to speaking to you again up in America's Dairyland, Wisconsin, where we'll be at Road America in August.